The incumbent Republican governor of Kentucky lost his reelection. He's not conceding. Also, Donald Trump Jr. released the name of the so-called whistleblower, who's just a fake and a political operative. And huge breaking news. In the fourth segment of today's show, one of the lawyers for the whistleblower saying that the coup d'etat, the overthrow of the government, is in progress. This is mind-blowing. So that broke after I recorded the show. So I apologize. You're going to notice that I had a haircut in between this. It's kind of crazy, but this is how we roll. We try and bring you the news as fast as we can. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the program, friend. The Republican governor of Kentucky lost in an incredible upset. Matt Bevin. All right, he's the one who President Trump went to campaign for on Monday night, and Rand Paul made that speech. We played a clip for it on Tuesday's program. Matt Bevin lost to Andy, I want to say his name right, Beshear, who is a Democrat. The governor has not conceded the race, so the Republican incumbent has said, no, we are going to challenge this because the victory for the Democrat was less than 0.3%. Now, the governor claims there was irregularities. I don't know. The one thing that stuck out to me, well, actually, there's two things. Number one is that 4 years ago, when the Kentucky people voted for governor, there were about 1 million votes cast. This year, there were 1.4 million votes cast. That's a 40% increase in the number of votes. There would have to be one of the most spectacular get-out-the-vote machines in the history of American politics to have a 40% jump. That number makes me suspect. Now, here's the second problem, is that about a third of the polling locations have paper ballots, and they can be physically recounted, which they will. But 2/3 of the vote in the state is collected by an electronic machine. So that is the place where you could have voter fraud. I'm not saying that there was, but that is the place where there could be voter fraud. When electronic machines were introduced 25, 30 years ago, and it was in the news a lot, I was steadfastly opposing it because of the potential for voter fraud. Just have a paper ballot, period. Well, we'll see what happens. Lord have mercy. We'll see what happens. But the big thing for me is that the governor is a hardcore pro-lifer. And I mean hardcore. If you've ever listened to Governor Bevin speak, he, like a preacher, preaches against the killing of babies by abortion. President Trump was there and said, you people got to win this for the governor, because if you don't, they're going to say it's the biggest defeat for President Trump in history. I mean, that's the line that I wish he wouldn't have said, because now that's the line being quoted by the press, that the president took a butt beating. Now, I was listening to Kellyanne Conway earlier today, and she pointed out, look, there were 14 statewide races in the United States, and the Republicans won 13 of them. So this is something that will blow over, but I guarantee you it has some legs. It will help the Democrats raise money. It will help energize their voter base. It will help them say, see, look what happens if we can get people out to vote. We can defeat Trump just like we defeated the governor of Kentucky. Whew. So, well, the good news is that the Republican candidate from Mississippi won. Now, we were in Tupelo, Mississippi on Monday at the on Friday at the Trump rally. We were at the Tupelo, Mississippi. I showed you some press on Tuesday that we got there in Mississippi. And thankfully, the pro-life Republican candidate for governor won in Mississippi. So it's not all dark news, but the very fact that President Trump carried Kentucky by 30 points, and that Rand Paul was at this rally, and Mitch McConnell was at this rally, that's mind-boggling that the governor lost. And by the way, I can't remember the man's name, but the first African-American attorney general for the state of Kentucky was elected. That's really cool. I listened to him speak the other night. Man, that guy is talented. That guy is a rising star, as President Trump said. I could see him win the presidency someday. Now I could be totally wrong, but just how articulate he was and charismatic he was. And he said, I'm pro-life and we'll be defending the babies. I mean, the unborn. Of all the things that he could have said as a candidate for attorney general, he chose to focus on the babies. And man, I respect that and I thank God for that. All right, I've got to take a break. When we come back, the name of the whistleblower, not told by the president or by Rand Paul, but by Donald Trump Jr. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Welcome back, friend. So Donald Trump Jr. has tweeted out the name of the whistleblower. And I spent a significant amount of time before this program trying to find the name, and no media outlets that I could find would print the name, which is really funny because millions and millions of people right now are retweeting it with each other. I'm just not on Donald Trump Jr.'s Twitter feed, whatever you call that. I'm not much of a twit guy. But the bottom line is the press is saying we're not going to let his name out until he tells us that he wants to be known. What a double standard. These foul hypocrites. By the way, I respect that they're respecting this person's privacy. I mean, if that's really what their motivation is, I don't think so. That's the issue. They'll release names, they'll release lies, they'll release half-truths. The press has helped destroy people's lives with lies. And yet this person they're going to protect. Oh, a sudden wave of nobility has come over them. A sudden concern for his safety. Tell that to the young teenage boy in Kentucky who the press falsely accused of being a racist or harassing the Native American. They're just hypocrites, people. They're lying hypocrites. But here's the real issue. All right? If what Rand Paul suggested is true, think this one through with me. The whistleblower might have been blowing the whistle and diverting attention to President Trump. Are you ready? To save his own skin. Not just Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, his own. Because the word out there is that whoever this person was helping Biden in direct regards to Ukraine and Hunter. Now, we'll see if this all comes out. We'll see if it's true, all right? But those are the allegations that are out there. So this whistleblower not only had an agenda against President Trump and lied in their briefing. What I mean, the whistleblower wasn't even in the room. It was all secondhand. It was all, but I guarantee you the whistleblower went into full-blown panic mode because he's a Biden supporter and a Biden operative. And maybe is covering his own hind end. So we'll see. We'll see what comes of it all. And when the name comes out and it's circulating, I will let you know who it is. And the reason that it's important who it is, they're endangering this person's safety. Really? I mean, God forbid anything should happen to them, but this is 2019 and so much stuff comes out about so many people. No. And it would be the worst thing in the world for President Trump and his supporters if somebody threatened this person or tried to do any harm to them. No, the harm that is going to come to the person is when it's shown that they were a liar and that they were meeting with Adam Schiff. One of the reasons that the press is not releasing the identity of the person, hear me on this, they are creating a backstory profile. All right, so right now you have reporters at CNN who are working overtime. They know who the person is, know where they grew up. They're probably talking to the attorney to release the whistleblower's attorney to release a simultaneous story about how this person is a Boy Scout, about how they love America, about how patriotic they were, and how they feared for their safety from day one, but their love for the country was put above their concern or their love for their own safety. They're going to have stories from this person's youth. They're going to have stories from their teen years, their marriage, any difficulties that they've had or anything that went wrong or that was unprofessional. They're going to spin it in such a way that this person comes out just one notch below or maybe a notch above Mother Teresa. We're going to be dealing with the Mother Teresa of whistleblowers. Never mind the fact that this whistleblower went to Adam Schiff, and Adam Schiff has used his position as the chairman of the Intelligence Committee to do a Soviet-style or Star Chamber-style witch hunt against President Trump, not allowing any cameras, no people. No one gets to know what's being asked. No one gets to know what's being said. That's Adam Schiff. And this whistleblower met with Adam Schiff. So I'm telling you, they are spinning a tapestry of lies and half-truths to protect the whistleblower, to protect Adam Schiff, and to make it look like President Trump and now Donald Trump Jr. are the devil incarnate, trying to take down Joe Biden with an illegitimate request, a quid pro quo from Ukraine, asking the Ukrainians to look into criminal activity in America. What an outrage! If there's criminal activity going on in Ukraine that involves Americans, the Americans should be able to get away with it, by golly, especially if their last name is Biden.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Welcome back, friend. David was a king. Duh. Solomon was a king. Duh. Well, a king in the old world was the chief executive officer, if you will. He was what today we would call a politician, or he was in civil government. Elders in the gates. Did you know that the Bible says appoint elders and judges in your gates? In other words, in each community. They were supposed to have judges and elders. Political figures, leaders. See, we call them politicians, but the Bible's word is a civil magistrate or a leader or an elder. It wasn't just about things religious. Why am I saying this? Because there's a large portion of the evangelical world in America that has been poisoned, theologically poisoned, by a toxin that is not biblical. It is actually anti-biblical regarding the role of men and women who serve Jesus Christ in civil government. Let me make an illustration for you. If someone preaches about serving God and then has an altar call, what are things that you have heard about an altar call? Now, not just to come to Christ, but to dedicate your life to the service of the Lord. How many of you would like to be what? A missionary, a pastor, a youth pastor, a preacher? Let me say it in the opposite. When's the last time you were at a church or at a revival or any kind of big Christian gathering and you heard an altar call or anything even like an altar call for people to come forward to serve God in government? When's the last time you heard someone stand up and say, "We are calling on you to search your heart tonight in the presence of God to see if you should run for office, to see if you should be the next governor of the state or in the state legislature, in the U.S. House of Representatives"? When's the last time you heard that? Oh, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard it? Even once? This proves my point. So, a large portion of my program is dedicated to politics. And the reason for that is because at this time in human history in America, politics, the civil magistrates are causing the most evil in our country. And we've got to retake those power bases. In the book of Genesis, there are 4 governments that are established by God. And those 4 governments remain with us throughout the scriptures and throughout human history. 4 governments: family government, church government, self-government, and civil government. Those 4 governments were all created by God. Family government, church government, self-government, and civil government. All 4 of those governments were created by God, and they're all under God, and they are all accountable to God. Sometimes they're accountable to each other in various ways, which I'm not going to break down right now. But these 4 governments are all under God. None of them are autonomous from God. You can't say, well, yeah, the family government, that's required to live by God's laws. You know, one husband, one wife, and children raised to love and fear the Lord. But civil government can do whatever the hell it wants. That's not a big deal because it's satanic anyway. Sure, whatever the hell it wants. Let it come from hell, go to hell. It's all from hell. It's satanic. It's the devil's world. The devil is in politics. You've heard that kind of stuff over and over and over again. And it makes for some good preaching, but it ain't true. It's not true. Romans chapter 13 says that the civil magistrate is there as the minister of God. He beareth not the sword in vain. He's the minister of God. In fact, that word minister is the same word where we use that we have for deacon. And it's the civil government, and that includes elected officials and judicial officials that are helping to destroy this country. And that's why I spend so much time. If it was another branch of those 4 governments that was destroying the country, you better believe I'd be focusing on that, because we need to push back evil, because the Bible says that the Son of God was manifested to destroy the works of the devil. And the place where the works of the devil are finding the most fruition and the most root is in civil government and the judiciary. I've got to take a break. I'll be right back. Don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, What Would Muhammad Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Thank you for staying with me till the end of the show, and I want to apologize for the lack of detail that I will have in this segment because the news is just breaking now and it's coming out in torrents. This is what we know. One of the attorneys for the whistleblower is on the record in January of 17. This is right when President Trump was inaugurated, saying that the coup is in progress. Saying that 45 years from now, I'll be able to sit back and recognize that we took Trump out of office. This is in January of 17. He said that we'll be able to sit and talk to our children, that we were able to do this. And when he said that when one deep state spy inside of Trump campaign or inside of Trump's administration falls, 2 more will replace him. This is in January of 17. Him literally saying that a coup is in progress. These are not my words. These are his words. He also said that he believed that CNN would play a key role in the impeachment of Donald Trump. This is in January of 2017. So all of these tweets are now being made public. This correspondence is now being made public. And remember, this is one of the attorneys who put together the so-called whistleblower complaint that launched this so-called impeachment inquiry in the House of Representatives. So what the Democrats did was they set up this completely fake, lying, illegal conspiracy theory about President Trump colluding with the Russians to win the election. One of the reasons it's so laughable on its face is because the Russians wanted Hillary, because they could push her around because they've already had great deals with Hillary and Bill and with Obama. When that didn't happen, and Robert Mueller's report showed no collusion, they went immediately to searching for something else that could be used to try and impeach President Trump. And they landed on this ludicrous whistleblower complaint. Now, what mucked it up for them is that they announced the impeachment proceeding on a Monday, and then President Trump on Tuesday said, fine, here's the transcript. And then everyone says, nothing impeachable in this. There's no quid pro quo. There's nothing illegal. Nothing. This is just being a good and normal president. The real problem is with Joe Biden and with Hunter Biden and criminal activities involving the State Department with President Obama's knowledge, CIA director's involvement, NSA director's involvement, James Comey's involvement. And now we have on the record that one of the attorneys for the whistleblower is a part of this, like a crazy novel, a crazy movie, a deep state operative that literally in January of 17 said that a coup was in progress. He might have just caused the defeat of the impeachment inquiry, but let's see who goes to jail for some of this stuff. I've got to go. God bless you.